Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Curveball Convos. We got a three-man crew tonight. Unfortunately, Kaysen could not make it for this one on this Sunday night, but we're going to rock with it anyway. We got Reed, myself, and Colby to kind of break down this weekend's action. And I mean, what a weekend it was. We've still got some series finishing up, obviously, on Monday tomorrow, but obviously a lot of action that we can kind of get into. And we had the privilege of going to a game this weekend at the DBAP yesterday. All four of us were at the UNC ECU matchup yesterday, and I was fortunate enough to go to Boshamer today for game two. But I mean, we just kind of dug into some of the scores as well this weekend. I know y'all were able to watch a lot of ball today. I was obviously at Boshamer, so I was kind of catching up the last couple hours. But what are y'all's first thoughts on this weekend? I'll start with Reed.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there was a lot of good things this weekend, but I think one thing caught all of our eyes was out in Western Carolina, that series with Maryland. I don't know if I've ever seen a team lose that badly. 35-12, I believe it was yesterday. And then come back today, Elijah Smith hit the walk-off homer in extras to take down Maryland and win the series for them.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. That's the most college baseball thing I've seen this year, to lose a game 35-12 and then come back and win the series. That Friday game was really good as well out there in Cullowhee, but
Yeah, I mean, it kind of
happy to see
reminded
that win
me
the series.
of that super regional with State and Arkansas from a few years ago when State, I think they lost like 23-2 or something like that in game one and then won the next two to go to Omaha.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. It was. I mean, 35 runs. That's probably the highest score I've seen in since we've
Yeah.
been doing this. I mean, I don't know. Have we seen a score above 35? I mean, Colby, what do you think? Obviously, State with a tough weekend. Charlotte losing their series. What are your thoughts on this weekend?
Yeah, tough weekend for my teams. Obviously, State goes to Jacksonville and doesn't win a game to cap off a 0-4 week with the loss to Liberty midweek. I just this weekend I don't think there's any positives for the Wolfpack this weekend they can hang their hat on. Uh, they only had 13 hits in the three games. The pitchers walked 18 batters in the three games, and the Wolfpack defense committed 6 errors in the three games. So there's a lot to fix in Raleigh. Still early in the season, but there's a lot of things to fix. Charlotte, they let the series slip today, up 6-3 in the ninth inning, and let up 4 runs in the ninth to lose the rubber match of the series.
Yeah, Charlotte. I mean, for them to win that game one was. I mean, it could have just as easily been an ODU sweep. I mean, for them to pull that out in extras, a really impressive performance from Taylor again after closing out the game against Wofford. But yeah, unfortunately, Old Dominion took that series today. We got a lot to get into. We'll go ahead and show some weekend scores tonight as we kind of get into some other series. We've got. I mean, these are the Sunday scores, but I mean, what a game today in Chapel Hill. We'll start there. I mean, it was a great atmosphere being there. A lot of fans, a lot of Pirate fans. Obviously, they travel really well. I mean, yesterday there was a ton of Pirate fans. Me and Reed were chatting. Probably, I estimated like 70-30. Reed said no, 85-15.
Yeah, I think it was about 90-10 in Durham yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, there was a good group of Tar Heel fans right behind their dugout, but there was definitely a lot of purple and gold in Durham yesterday. But today, I mean, it was a kind of a back and forth game on both sides of the ball. Like I thought what's his name on ECU gave them a good start. Jenkins. I thought he gave them
Yeah,
a
he settled down after giving up that homer early, first walking the first two batters, and then obviously Stevenson taking him yard. But I thought he, after that, really settled down and
yeah.
pitched a solid game.
So we get a comment from Money Matt in the chat. Kane Kepley. I mean, what a game changer this guy is for Carolina. You can see it in almost every game. He gets on base, steals bags. He had a big triple today to give the heel some insurance, and that got that place pretty jumping there late in the game. But I mean, what did you think about yesterday's game, Colby? Because I know you're not really cheering for either team, but you got to see some good, obviously defensive and pitching baseball. What did you think about the two teams yesterday?
Yeah, UMass just couldn't quite come alive. They had some chances in that game, but couldn't plate any runs. So UNC took that one. I was encouraged by ECU today. The Bats coming alive. I think it bodes well going into tomorrow in a rowdy Greenville environment. I think that one's going to be very interesting tomorrow. Looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah. Reed? Let me ask you this: what do you think? What are the biggest keys for East Carolina to get a win tomorrow in Greenville?
Well, I mean, I think I touched on it in our first podcast. It's going to take this young freshman group time to gel. I said there's going to be issues at the beginning of the first month, and obviously it's happening right now. But tomorrow, I think today was a good step in the right direction. I know they didn't win, the bullpen kind of underperformed there at the end of the game, but they hit the ball pretty hard today. I think season high in hits too today. Boucher went long, Walker Barron as well. So I think if they can get off to a quick start, maybe plating a run or two right off the bat in the first inning, I mean, the offense is going to get better. Dixon Williams and Colby Wallace are really cold right now at the plate. There's no doubt in my mind they will get going. And then, obviously when Riley Johnson returns to the lineup, they'll be just fine. And then obviously getting Ryan Towers to make his debut coming up here soon. So yeah, I'm not worried about them just yet.
Yeah, I was impressed with the Bats today. That Boucher home run, I mean, that ball was crushed over the net. I haven't seen a home run. I mean, Honeycutt hit a couple last year at Boschmer that were deep. But I'm glad that Carolina could finally get off the board on home runs. Luke Stevenson there early in the game with a line drive. But yeah, I agree with you, Reed. I mean, it seems like Cliff Godwin is staying pretty positive. I think he's trying to keep the fans on board. I saw his interview today. Like, he's really trying to just let the fans know they need to be patient with this team. And they're obviously playing a really tough team this weekend in Carolina. But let's get into some of the other series. We touched on State a little bit with Colby. Anything else jump off at you guys on this first page?
Yeah, I mean, Charleston Southern improving to 6-1 on the year. Impressed with them so far early, making a turnaround from. They were pretty solid last year, but keeping it up this year.
Of course, first year head coach there. I think he was an assistant for a long time, Carl Kuhn. He's got them winning games. I don't think they've played too much competition early. Obviously, Manhattan, it's tough. They played Mississippi State, I believe, last weekend. But credit to Charleston Southern. They've been putting up a lot of runs every game, and they are winning ball games, and that's showing. I think App as well with the big sweep this weekend, so good for them to get a couple of wins. They've had some notable performances. I think it was Juan Correa was the kid's name, just hitting home runs left and right. I saw one the other day that was just like 112 off the bat or something like that. But Reed, you got anything else on this page?
No, I mean, the Coastal certainly was very impressive today against State. Obviously, they lost to Alabama, took down Ohio State. They were able to bounce back after tough loss on Tuesday. But, I'm certainly encouraged by Coastal.
Yeah, that Jacksonville Classic was a good – I mean, we couldn't have been more wrong on our predictions, most of us.
I certainly was.
Yeah, I think – most of us had State. I think I might have had State third, but I did not expect Bama to win.
Yeah, I mean, they came back down 10-0 today against Ohio State.
Yeah, that was a crazy comeback. But I mean, look, that's an SEC team that's now like 8-0, I think.
Yeah.
Like, they are rolling right now. So if they can keep that up going into SEC play, that could be something to watch. Let's go to the next page. Look at some more scores from today. Talk about some more series. Charleston, they might have a Sunday issue. They could have, if they would have swept both weekends, sitting at 7-0. I think we would. Yeah. I mean, we're obviously talking about them a lot because they've been really impressive. Their midweek win against Coastal was very impressive. But they lose again on Sunday today. So give credit to Seton Hall, but. I don't know if you guys have got a chance to watch them.
Yeah, I'll touch Peyton Frainer at the plate this weekend for Charleston. He was sensational all weekend. I think he was 8 for 11.
Yeah.
Went yard a couple times, had about 7 RBIs. So, Yeah, I mean, if they can just fix their Sunday issues, I mean, like you said, they'd be sitting right here at 7-0, and making a case probably to crack into our top 5.
Yeah, I mean, like I said a couple episodes ago, that 1-2 out of Brink and Hunter don't seem to be having any issues.
Yeah.
They're winning. I mean, they beat VCU last week, 2-1 as well in the series. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Peyton Fraynard. I mean, that's a player of the week watch for sure. With his week being done, we're gonna have to take a look at his numbers. South Carolina improving to 8-0. The Gamecocks just keep rolling. I think Petrie had a couple more doubles today, a home run yesterday.
Pitching was on fire.
More
McCoy.
pitching. Yeah, McCoy again, just looking dominant. Were you guys able to see any other things on the Gamecocks?
I mean, I'll just touch on South Carolina a little bit. I mean, certainly they haven't played anyone yet. We're going to find out real quick next weekend when they play Clemson. But,
Yep.
I mean, if you're a Gamecocks fan, you certainly have to be very excited with what you've seen so far with that pitching staff and Petrie offensively.
Yeah. And you got anything, Colby?
Yeah, Jake McCoy continues so far early in the season, like one of the best pitchers in the Carolinas. He's electric and exciting to watch. Another score, Queens losing 10-3 today. This game actually went into extras. It was 3-3
Really?
after 9,
Wow.
and Yale put up 7 runs in the top of the 10th. So that was unfortunate. I was tapped into that one. UNCG drops the second game of the series. They took game 1, so they'll be having a critical rubber match tomorrow in Blacksburg. And if UNCG wins that one, that's they take a series from an ACC team on the road on top of beating Wake Forest this week. That would be a very impressive week.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all kind of waiting to see what happens with that one tomorrow, which, by the way, I was going to get to this at the end, but we'll go ahead and address it. We are doing our rankings this week on Tuesday morning, just because of some of the pushback series. We have some implications coming in some of these game 3s. Obviously, Carolina won the series already, but ECU has a chance to get a big win tomorrow to kind of, I mean, that's a big win if they can get that for their RPI against Carolina. And then obviously, yeah, like you touched on, Colby, the rubber match tomorrow in Blacksburg. That's a big game for UNCG to possibly push into our top 12. And then I think High Point plays tomorrow as well. So we're actually gonna push our schedule out a day for rankings. We will be dropping them on Tuesday, probably early in the morning, since we've got some midweek action to look forward to on Tuesday. But the Player Week honor rewards, those will still be on Monday. So be looking out for those. We'll be crunching the numbers tonight, figuring out our player of the week and pitcher of the week and all that good stuff. Shout out Upstate, my alma mater, getting a win today against Bowling Green. Bowling Green started the season really, really well. I think they were my MAC pick. Did anyone else pick them for the MAC in our conference picks? I think Kaysen might.
Yeah, I think he did too.
They beat Upstate the other day, but Upstate comes back and gets 2 wins of successful weekend for them. Winthrop getting a win today despite losing the series to Villanova. I know, Reed, we talked about Villanova possibly being a pretty good team.
Yeah.
But Winthrop handled them today, 17-3. Campbell, we got to talk about Campbell losing their series against Ryder. Ryder's first games of their season, walking into Bowie's Creek, getting 2 one-run victories. Campbell obviously shutting them down today, 13-3. But what do you guys think about Campbell? We'll start with Colby.
Yeah, still early, but I think there's a lot of areas of improvement. Obviously, first-year head coach, some new players, some returning players as well. They all just need to gel. I'm not super concerned yet, but want to see some improvement somewhat soon for the Camels.
Reed?
Yeah, I mean, certainly after Tuesday, thought that would bode well for them going into this weekend after taking down ECU. But, losing Friday and Saturday, I mean, that's not ideal. Losing to Ryder is going to kill their RPI. But, I mean, like what Colby says, I mean, it is early. So, I mean, we're only in the second week of the season, so there's no need to be freaking out. I mean, that's to all fan bases, I think, right now. So,
yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, look, obviously there's some flags for a lot of teams, but, everything works itself out. I think it takes some teams some time in the first month of the season to figure out what you've got. I mean, every team has a completely different team each year, right? You've got to figure out who your guys are going to be this year, who stepped up, who's gotten better, who maybe might have a down year. and it takes time. I mean, you're not going to just know the identity of your team in February. Nobody is. You're going to have some ideas, but you're not going to figure that out until we get into kind of the dog days of April, March and April. But we did touch on the Western Series. That was a great one. We will go to the last page here, see if there's any other exciting scores we can touch on. Duke bouncing back, getting 2 big wins. I mean, we were sitting there Friday, Reed, just shocked that they were down big to Cornell in Cornell's game of the season.
They were getting no hit too through the first 6 innings too in that game.
Yeah, and we were just sitting there like, what is going on with Duke?
Yeah,
why are they not winning ball games? But they turned it around, and the offense showed up the last 2 days. Gracia had a big day today, I think. Is that right, Colby?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Saturday.
Maybe it's Saturday.
It was Saturday, I think. But their offense, another big day today. Clemson sweeping their invitational, going 4-0?
4-0, yeah.
4-0. Yeah, I mean, I looked at some of those box scores. Not a lot of like crazy performances. I haven't seen Canarella do too much. I think does anyone know? I don't even think he played one of the games. Did y'all happen to catch anything on Canarella?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I'm not sure. I know I did see Luke Gaffney, Purdue transfer, went yard for the first time in a Clemson jersey. So I mean, that's certainly encouraging for Clemson fans.
Yeah, but nonetheless, they get 4 wins on the weekend in the Clemson Invitational, heading into a big weekend next weekend against their rival, the Gamecocks. UNCW sweeping Asheville. Yesterday got a little bit interesting, but overall, just a dominant weekend for the Seahawks. I think we kind of all expected that for them to take 3 games from Asheville. I mean, Asheville, swept their first weekend, had that rough time in Knoxville in the midweek, but heading all the way to Wilmington to get swept. Tough for them, but they did almost pull out yesterday's game. Was there any notable performances in that series? DiMartino, I know, has been hitting the ball
well. Zane Taylor continues to pitch unbelievable for Wilmington.
Our reigning pitcher of the week is in line to possibly win it again.
I think, what do you have, another 11 Ks or 13 Ks this weekend?
I think it was 11 Ks in 7 innings or so, another win. And they continue to roll. Even their other arms, Trace Baker, I think, is one of the other arms that's looked really good.
Yeah. Cam Bagwell started today. He was solid. He went 6 innings of no earned run ball.
Okay, yeah. So they've looked really good ever since dropping that game to Quinnipiac last week. They dropped the midweek to Duke, which is going to turn out to be a good win for Duke, I think. Who we not talked about? Wofford sweeping a couple of 1-run games for them against Army. But they end up winning today and sweeping the weekend, bouncing back after that Charlotte loss midweek. Wake.
Yeah, I'll touch on Wake. Obviously Tuesday was kind of a shock. I mean, that they looked so good offensively last weekend, and then going to Greensboro, only putting up 2 hits and losing. But Logan Lunsford started Friday night. He was absolutely sensational for a Wake. 13 Ks and 5 1/3 innings pitch, 1 hit, 0 earned. So certainly, I think no one expects anyone to be on Chase Burns' level, but I think there's more consistency wanted in that Wake pitching. Obviously, besides Burns last year, they really struggled to pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for anyone to follow up Chase Burns, but they do look good on the mound. Matthew Dallas pitching yesterday. Lunsford, you mentioned, Reed.
Morningstar pitched well too today.
Yeah. So they've got a nice solidified rotation, I think, forming there. Some of their transfer bats, Ethan Conrad, Cade Lewis, I think it is, from Butler. Starting to hit the ball well. Jack Winney had a couple of homers, I think it was yesterday. So they are finding their feet over there in Winston-Salem, obviously shrugging off the defeat to UNCG in the midweek, but obviously a very, very top team in the Carolinas that we are going to be keeping our eyes on. We will now shift gears here to our pick'ems, which are mostly decided. Is that right?
Yeah, besides the rubber match between Greensboro and Virginia Tech tomorrow.
Yeah, so let's take a look at everyone's pick'ems. Let's see. Let's full screen it. Okay. So we all missed on Winthrop.
Yeah.
Villanova coming down to Rock Hill, getting a series win. Shout out to Kaysen, who could not be on tonight, winning the lone Old Dominion picker. I mean, Colby, I know you touched on it a little bit. What do you expect? What are kind of the issues for Charlotte right now? Would you say?
I'm encouraged by the bats right now. I think they're hitting well. I think they have a lot of talent in the lineup. I think maybe a little bit of an issue is pitching. I think obviously the bullpen back end is good. I think the starters need to provide some more length going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Friday game. I mean, it was probably the first game on, that one that went to extras. Me and Matt were watching it out here. They looked. I mean, for them to claw back in that one, we thought Old Dominion was going to run away with it, and then for them to win that game could turn out to be huge. I mean, you'd be looking at 2-4 right now. You know, obviously you get the big win midweek against Wofford, but if you get swept against this weekend, that's a tough look. I mean, Old Dominion's a good team. We saw them compete with Georgia Tech last week. They head down to Greenville on Wednesday now. Is that right, Reed?
Correct.
Which is going to be an interesting game. Alex Boucher facing his former team. But credit to the Monarchs getting that win in Charlotte. I expect Charlotte to still be fine. I think they've shown that they have a lot of talent this year. I think they need to find their rotation and figure out what that is. I think Sturma, is that the Friday guy? I think he's looked good. I think he needs to remain, but I don't know about the other two. I mean, I know some of our Charlotte fans have been active on the Discord, which, by the way, if you haven't joined yet, go to the link in our bios, and you can find all our socials there. But go on the Discord, join it up, answer some questions. You'll get placed in some channels and talk ball with all of us and some more of our followers. So the Charlotte one was very active this weekend. We thank you all for that. But yeah, we've had a fun time on Discord so far. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I love it.
It is.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a good way to interact with all our fans. So,
and of course, Money finally getting on the sports betting for us. He had a good weekend, I believe. But I know he's in the chat right now. But I believe he had a positive weekend. We moved to the third one. UNCW all the way. I think we all expected them to sweep, and they did. So no problems there. Obviously, the Carolina series is decided. Not finished, but decided. Kaysen, the lone soldier picking the Pirates. He will get a loss for that one. But
I kind of want to add. I'm going to add something about Carolina we kind of didn't talk about. How about Hunter Stokely? He was 4 for 5 today. He missed pretty much all of last year, but people forget he batted about 320 in that lineup 2 years ago. Kind of forgotten about, and I mean, he had a huge weekend. Forbes moved him up in the order today.
Yeah,
and it paid big dividends for us.
Yeah, not only the day-to-day, he had that big double yesterday that basically won the game. I mean, that hit started the inning where the Heels scored 2, or I think he might have drove 1 in actually with that double.
Yeah, I believe he did.
But yeah, dude, he's been hitting the ball well, and I'm glad that Forbes moved him up because he's just not a 9-hole hitter. That guy needs to be in the middle of your order. The way that I was talking to John today at the game, the way he goes the other way with the ball for a guy his size is really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he slaps it through the hole. The infield was in a couple of times today. He hits the 6 hole, and then they shade him towards the 6 hole. He goes up the middle. I mean, the guy just is a hitter. Another name I want to touch on for the Heels is Tyson Bass was really impressive today. A couple of doubles. He showed his speed. Luke Stevenson, a great day.
That Bass catch, though.
Great catch. He's a good outfielder, man. He's got a lot of tools. I think he's got the closest to Honeycutt's tools. Obviously, he's not Honeycutt, but he has the speed. He has the bat. He's starting to show the bat. He plays a really good right field. I mean, Kellis was a little bit shaky in left field, but that UNC outfield is looking very, very solid with Kepley holding it down in center. And another guy that I've been raving about is Alex Madera. I think that guy has been playing phenomenal at shortstop. We always knew he had the glove, but he's hitting like 380 so far this season.
Yeah, he got moved up in the lineup too.
Yep,
I think I told you yesterday they should put him up in the 2-hole. Guess
yep,
Forbes heard me.
yep. He was in the 2-hole today, and he is playing really good baseball early in the season. But as we mentioned, the Virginia Tech UNCG series finale tomorrow, I will be trying to watch that one if possible, because I want to see if the Spartans can win a series up there in Blacksburg. What do you think they do it, Colby?
Yeah, I picked them to do it before the series starts, so I'm going to ride with them till they do it tomorrow. I think they do it.
Reed?
It's gonna be tough. I mean, their pitching's been pretty impressive so far, but this will have huge implications. Not going to spoil anything, but the Spartans have their case to be in our top 12.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if a series win, I predict they probably will be. I think all us as voters will probably give them the nod over some of the teams that are losing a lot of games right now, like
Mhm.
the East Carolinas and the NC States. We will see if they remain in. Obviously, I mean, both going winless this week. Is that right? So
Yeah.
far. I mean, obviously East Carolina has to play tomorrow, but um, I'm interested to see. I think Greenville will bring the energy. They'll always bring the energy for their
They'll
team.
be back there tomorrow night for
Yeah,
sure.
but I'm interested to see how if it starts off with if it starts off with a Carolina lead, does that kind of deaden it a little bit? It'll be interesting to see as Matt, one of our members, Pirates will drop to 24. I don't think they'll drop that far, Matt. But maybe in your rankings, as we know,
Very
he's a little
critical of the Pirates,
he's very what would you call it, Reed? He's very critical of the Pirates at times.
to say the least.
He might want to take a listen to Cliff and stay bought into this team. Be patient with them, give them time to figure themselves out. But let's move on. Let's go ahead and talk about notable performers, Colby. I know me and you kind of dug into some box scores here tonight. Who jumped out to you? I guess from today's games, or anyone from Friday or yesterday that had a big day, a big weekend. What's some names that you're looking at that could be in the running for player pitcher of the week?
Yeah, I'm not sure about player pitcher of the week, but Reed talked about him early. Blake Morningstar of Wake Forest. He went 4 1/3 today, 7 strikeouts, 0 runs, and only giving up 1 hit to end that game. Or I guess he was in the middle because Gunther closed it out, and he was very solid as well. Vance Sheehan on USC Upstate went 5 for 5 today with a double, 2 RBIs, another one that stuck out. And Connie Derschlag, High Point, dude's a stud. He went 3 for 4 with a homer, RBI. And also, we didn't touch on High Point during the scoreboards. They're now 7-0.
Yeah.
Look, they continue the rate. It seems like they put up at least eight plus runs a game. That's an impressive team so far.
Yeah, and they play tomorrow, of course, to try and go for the sweeps and go to 8-0. They are moving on up. I mean, you mentioned Connie Derschlag. I think he had 3 hits yesterday as well. Jackson Melton, another name that's been hitting the ball well for them this weekend. And then Landon Johnson, he's been hitting the ball well all season. I think he's a transfer. He has been raking up and down that lineup. Miggy Echazareta, another name. I mean, that Panthers team is absolutely breaking right now. And I've been seeing some of their videos. They have a cool little celebration when they hit home runs. They tell the outfield to, take a step back, which is pretty cool. But Reed, you got any notable performers that you want to point out from this weekend?
Yeah, I'll touch on Caleb Cross on app today. He went 5 1/3, or Saturday game, I believe. 5 1/3, 10 Ks. Gave up only a couple hits, no earn. Yeah, obviously this app team's struggling out of the gates. I think we all expected that after the losses they had from last year's team, but they won the series this weekend, correct, or swept
They
the
swept them.
basketball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that was a really good performance from Cross this weekend.
yeah. Another name I'll throw out on the pitching side of the ball is Max Kaplan from Upstate.
Yeah.
Yesterday, he went complete game, 9 innings with 13 Ks. against Lemoyne. So no earned runs, 2 hits, and obviously the win. That's a possible pitcher of the week right there, my friends.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, another name. Let's see. I mentioned DiMartino for UNCW. He had a really good midweek game in the loss to Duke, but he did have a good Friday night game as well, going 2 for 4 with a homer and a double, and driving in 4 runs against Asheville. Folger Boas today. Great performance out of him, coming out of the pen. I was thinking during the game, like middle of the game, I was like, one worry I have for the Heels is the left-handers out of the pen. I mean, Percival has not been sharp.
No.
He came in today, gave up a few runs, but then I forgot about Folger Boas, and he comes in today and shoves there to, and he closes it out pretty much. Obviously, the Heels gave him some insurance, but I was fully confident that he was going to go out there and get the job done, even with a 1-run lead. So to have him and Knapp back throwing like they are is absolutely massive for that pitching staff. I feel like we've been talking about the Heels a lot, but I mean, they've just been really, really impressive. Let's actually here. There was one chat that I wanted to Colby to talk about. I know you've talked about State a little bit, but Matt wants to know what is wrong with State.
Everything. I don't know. It doesn't look good right now. They're 3-4. Their 3 wins are against Fordham, which, for being honest, Fordham's not that good of a team. And their 4 losses are against Liberty, Bama, Ohio State, and Coastal, good teams. And like I said earlier this weekend, there really wasn't any positives to hang the hat on. The offense really didn't do much. The pitchers having control issues, walking a ton of batters, and the defense just continues to make errors. It's a constant problem, and I know it's early, but there are some worry points for the Wolfpack early on this season.
Braxton, kind of Colby touches there on State. I'll ask, who are you most worried about currently? I know, obviously, ECU and Campbell fans, obviously not happy with their starts, but who do you think?
Like, which team am I most concerned with right now? Like that won't turn it around.
Yeah.
It's probably between Campbell and Davidson. I think Davidson, Money obviously a big Davidson guy, but them losing a series to Bucknell at home,
it's disencouraging.
Yeah, that's not encouraging at all. I think they were a solid. I thought they would be a solid team before the season, and maybe they still will, but it seems like they haven't hit the ball well, or like they're kind of inconsistently hitting the ball. I am a bit concerned about them as well as Asheville. I know Asheville had a tough week facing Tennessee and UTW, but Campbell, I mean, I fully expected them to beat Rider this weekend. 2 out of 3. Obviously, Rider was a regional team a couple years back, and I think they were my pick to actually win their conference this year as well. But I thought Campbell would, like you said, Reed, kind of build off that win on Tuesday and go into the weekend at home. Let's see. Matt says he's not worried about Davidson, but I don't know if he's watching any of them, so we'll leave that to him. But yeah, who would you say, Reed, for that question? I'll reverse that right back to you.
I gotta say Campbell. Honestly, yeah. I mean, they beat ECU. Appears every year now. Like I said, like you just touched on, I thought they would build on that going into this weekend. But the pitching struggled this weekend against Rider. Obviously, offensively, it's just not the same. I mean, last 2 years, Campbell offensively has just been a juggernaut. So I mean, we'll see. It's like I've said, it's only the second weekend of the season, so I mean, we have so much more ball to play. But I am definitely concerned after these first 2 weeks with them.
Colby, who are you most concerned with? State.
I guess just the pessimist in me. I'll say State with the reasons I've stated before.
Anyone else?
I'll go Queens. I was encouraged last weekend, and then this weekend they got swept this weekend, I believe.
Yale,
Yale. crushed.
Today
Lost 18.
Today it was a good showing, and then tied 3-3 going into extras, and you give up 7 in the 10th. It's like that.
Yeah,
That
I would have
shouldn't
never
happen.
even known if you hadn't mentioned that they went to
Yeah.
extras. I would have just thought
I
they
didn't
got
know
one.
that.
But
Yeah.
they did look okay against South Carolina in the midweek. I know that was an ugly, ugly day to play baseball, but
Kept it close for the most part.
yeah, I mean they were in that. Jake Barber is one name on that team. I was watching him a little bit. He's been putting up really good at bats, and I think he hit a bomb this weekend as well. That kid looks like a really mature hitter. Left-handed stick there for Queens. But I've got another question for y'all before we move on to kind of our rankings preview discussion. Who we said who are you most concerned with? Who are you most surprised with to start this season? Whether it be a team, a player. We'll start with Reed. What team or player kind of has been a surprise to you? Kind of where they're at right now with their record, with their performances. What would you say for that?
That's tough. I got to say High Point. Obviously they had a great year last year making the NCAA tournament. But I mean, the way they're playing right now, they're playing at an elite level right now. 7-0. Obviously, they play again tomorrow. But yeah, I've just been really impressed. Obviously, offensively, they've been seeing the ball really well.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good shout. That didn't come to my mind, but I am also a bit surprised with what they lost. Our boy
Yeah.
Adam Stewart, a couple other bats. I knew they had some talent coming back, but I did not expect them to put up the runs they've been putting up. They played at home.
Obviously, the schedule beefs up here coming up soon for them.
That, and also they've been playing at home a lot. I think the whole season so far. I don't know. I haven't even looked at this week's schedule, but I'm sure they've got a tough midweek coming up at some point, and I'm sure they've got a tough weekend coming up. But yeah, that's a good shout. Anyone else, or you want to talk about, or should we go to Colby for who he's most surprised with?
Yeah, I'll go. I would say UNCG. I mean, that's recently, historically, it's a good program, but last year they weren't as good as they usually are. I think this year they're very good. I know it's early, but really like what I see. Obviously, you take down Wake Forest, and then this weekend, splitting so far the 2 games in Blacksburg, obviously with the rubber match tomorrow. But I think that's a team to watch out in the SoCon. Obviously, contending with Wofford. So that's a tough conference if UNCG is as good as I think it is.
Yeah. Of course, we got Western there as well. Could be a scrappy team. Who was your pick for SoCon? I think we all picked Wofford, right?
Yeah, I think I picked Wofford.
Maybe Kaysen picked Greensboro. But yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with Charleston Southern. I think I did not expect them to be sitting at 6-1. I didn't really look too deep into their schedule, but obviously that's a big factor in why they're 6-1 right now. But looking at some of their box scores and numbers, they've been putting up a lot of runs down there. And I've played at their field. It's a nice field. It's I wasn't a big fan of the surface, but like the park and the atmosphere down there, the air is just really humid down there. I don't know how it was this weekend, but they seem to be hitting the ball really well, and I think that's a team that is making a case. If they keep winning games, we'll have no choice but to put them in the top 12. I mean, we saw it last year. I think with Citadel, kind of had a really, really good record early on, and we popped them in the top 12. Obviously, they ended up being nowhere near it, but I mean, look, if you're winning games, we're going to reward. Some of our voters we're going to reward those teams and put them in our top 12. If you're losing games like Carolina or not Carolina State and ECU are at the moment, it's just it's week to week, right? So we can't really predict how it's going to be. Money says, is Duke back? Yeah,
I will.
I think we're back.
I mean, losing to Cornell on Friday the way they did, certainly today is very positive. Probably their best game of the season they've played.
Shout out to Coach Pollard, by the way, becoming the all-time winningest coach.
Yeah, shout out to that. Yeah, I mean, Gracia had a huge game today for them, but the pitching, I think, is a bit of a concern. Cornell, obviously, Cincy let him up last weekend too.
How did Cincy do this weekend? Does anyone know?
I think they have a rubber match tonight against UNLV. I know they won Friday.
Oh yeah, they lost yesterday.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, I think Duke's good.
Yeah.
I think after they're getting no hit through 6 innings on Friday, but after that their bats really came alive. Like they came back on Friday, then they scored a good bit yesterday, and then obviously today. Encouraged by what their bats, but yeah, like you said, the pitching, it's a little concern.
Yeah, we currently have them at 7th. I think they will move up just as a result of some teams moving down. But obviously they dropped 4 spots last week. Let's go ahead and actually pull up the rankings from last week because that is our next segment. We're going to kind of touch on some early signs of the rankings, as well as obviously we're, like I said earlier, if you missed it, we are going to drop our rankings on Tuesday night this week due to 3 games being played tomorrow night. So we are going to kind of shift the schedule a little bit. Let's go to this question from our boy Dylan Rigg real quick from X. He says, "Do the Heels compete? Do the Heels complete the sweep tomorrow in G Vegas?" I'm going to start with that one. I'm going to say yes. I think they have a. I was thinking about it today. Like they have a lot of arms still to throw. It's not that still to throw, but they have a lot of arms that can throw tomorrow. Obviously, they're going to start Aiden Hall, I believe, on the mound. They still have Olin Johnson, who started last Sunday. They have Mateus, who didn't throw today. He will throw again tomorrow. They have
Lynch
Ryan
only pitched a little bit.
Didn't throw today. McDuffie didn't throw today. So they've got a lot of arms still to go down there and confidently, hopefully, get a W. Has ECU said who they're starting yet?
I don't think they have. I could see
I know
them
Steven
just
told us it
throwing.
was TBA when we saw him yesterday at the D-backs.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them just throwing a lot of guys, typical Cliff Game 3 style.
I mean, they used like 8 pitchers today with Wallace coming in there at the end. But I'm going to say yes. I think that they were close to getting it done last year in Greenville. Gavin Gallagher, a big home run. Obviously, East Carolina walking it off. But that was a great ball game. I expect another good ball game, and I expect ECU to just have Carolina to just have the upper hand in this one, just with the more talented team. And I think they will finally get over that hump and sweep the Pirates. What do you think, Colby?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna lean no. I think ECU shows out tomorrow in Greenville to salvage at least one game of the series. The last game, I think they'll just feel their fans' presence. It's gonna be rowdy like it always is, and I think they'll steal this last one. I still think Carolina is the best team in the Carolinas. Them and Clemson. It's like 1A and 1B to me. No wrong answer for who's better at this point. But I think the Pirates salvage this last one tomorrow.
Who gets like the big hit for them, do you think, in that lineup? Boucher?
Yeah, I think he looked good today. Obviously had a home run. Yeah. Has he been hitting 9th this whole year in that lineup?
No, they switch it every
I
day.
mean, they've been rotating it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Reed, did the Pirates get it done tomorrow?
I'm kind of torn on this. Ties to both programs. I've been encouraged with how ECU played this weekend against Carolina. They were right in it in both games. They could have won in Durham yesterday. Just needed one timely hit. And then obviously today the bullpen kind of just caved in there towards the end of the game. But they hit the ball so much better today, which was very encouraging, like we said. But tomorrow it's going to be an electric atmosphere under the lights in Greenville. But I think this Carolina team is just way better than them at the moment. So I'm going to say the Heels take sweep in a close one tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the Pirates need your presence in the jungle, Reed, to
help out a little bit. They will get that this upcoming weekend.
Next week?
Next weekend.
If they can limit the walks, I think that really killed them today. If they can limit the walks, hit like they did today, which they're going to face some good arms again tomorrow. I think Carolina's just going to find that guy that's on tomorrow and just ride him out. So Matt's saying Heels first series win over the Pirates since 2002. Can we fact check that?
That is true. They showed that on the broadcast today, but I don't think they've played a series every single year. I think they just started doing this 3-game series a few years ago.
Like I said, glad to finally get over that hump and beat the in-state rivals. It definitely felt good at the Bosch today to walk out of there with a win. But anyways, we will move on to the rankings discussion. I think that's going to be our last segment tonight before we kind of move on. But this was last week. Now that we've seen most of the weekend play out, obviously we have tomorrow. What are we thinking for movements? What are we thinking for people? What are our newcomers? What are our drops? Obviously, Colby and Reed have already kind of formed their rankings. Don't give too much away, boys. I know you guys have kind of been working on yours tonight as the results have come in. But what do we think about teams that will possibly drop out, teams that will possibly come in? We'll start with Colby.
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of changes in my power rankings this week if they look anything like my mock one tonight as a draft. Moving out, I definitely can see a point where State and East Carolina are out of the top 12. Obviously, these are power rankings, so who's playing the best right now? It's not who's going to be playing best 2 months from now. It's about who's playing best right now. And in my opinion, I don't think NC State is one of those teams right now and might not be for ECU. I haven't decided on them yet. Got to see what happens tomorrow. But, yeah, I like it. Who's playing well right now, and I want to reward those teams like UNCG or Charleston Southern that I think should be on there. They're playing good ball right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at if ECU loses tomorrow, they're sitting at 2-5.
Mm-hmm.
If State's at what 3-4 now, 0-4 this week. I mean, look, seeing those records in the top 12 will kind of be. I mean, look, I know I'm personally, I don't think I'm going to overreact too much. If ECU loses tomorrow, maybe they go out of my top 12. I'm not too sure. I have to see kind of like obviously High Point plays tomorrow, Greensboro plays tomorrow, and those two are two teams on the bubble. So I want to see their results as well. That's really the reason why we're pushing this out. But State, I think I will definitely still have in my top 12. But I think they face some tough competition this week. I know their struggles. They are having struggles on both sides of the ball, especially defensively and then offensively as well. But I mean, look, Alabama, Ohio State's a good team. Coastal, 3 good teams. I mean, look, I don't think State fans expected to go 0-3 at all. But look, it is what it is. I think they're still going to be a really good team. They're still going to compete in the ACC.
I mean, they started slow last year too, so.
That's right. Yeah, and we kind of had the same reaction. They end up in Omaha. So,
yeah.
Reed, what do you think about some movements this week?
Yeah, I think a lot of teams have cases. Colby makes a good point. I think Carolina and Clemson, I think a 1A and 1B. I think they're the clear-cut 2 best teams early. Wake kind of just below them.
Yeah,
I'm excited this weekend to see South Carolina and Clemson. That's finally seeing the Gamecocks play someone. But I mean, I'm not going to give away my personal rankings, but I mean, there's going to be some major shakeup. Obviously, we still have 3 games tomorrow.
Are we underestimating the Gamecocks a little bit? They're sitting at 8-0 right now. Do you think them or Wake, maybe Wake, has a case to be 1 or 2?
I don't think they have a case to be 1 or 2 yet, but I do like the Gamecocks. That was one of my bold predictions that they're going to get the Omaha this year. I think they look really good so far, and I need to see how they do next weekend against Clemson. I'm not sure. They might have a tough midweek game. I can't remember. But it's going to be an interesting series, Clemson, South Carolina next weekend. And, if South Carolina wins that, then I think they do have a case for 1 and 2 spot. Probably not now. I think 3 or 4, or they'll be this upcoming week 3 or 4. So that's probably good for right now.
Yeah, I would agree. Speaking of midweeks, the only midweek game that I have seen so far, I haven't even looked at Tuesday's slate, but Coastal and Wilmington, the Battle of the Beach, I believe is happening on Tuesday. I don't remember where it is, but that's a big one for a couple of those middle table teams. Reed, would you say we're underestimating the Gamecocks a little bit, or the Deacons?
No, I think they're in a good spot. Certainly, next week things could change. I mean Carolina and Clemson, they deserve to be 1 and 2. They've played probably they have had the best set of wins in the Carolinas so far. No, I don't know when Wake's first tough test is. If someone knows that, they can add that. But
They don't play
I'm encouraged. I think Wake's pitching is a lot better as a team this year, and I mean South Carolina has been lights out pitching in and offensively so far.
Yeah, I was saying let's hope Wake doesn't play Greensboro next week.
Yeah, I think they're done scheduling them first Tuesday of the year.
Yeah. Coastal, another team that could possibly move into the top 5 this week, assuming that State or someone like that drops out. Obviously, they beat State today pretty handily. So, yeah, I mean, I think they have a good case. They
Played a
played
good
well.
schedule so far.
They played well down there in Jacksonville. Did they win 2 games or just 1?
2.
Yeah, I mean that's a good look. That's a good weekend. I think if you would have told Coastal fans before the weekend, will you take 2-1 down there in Jacksonville, they would have taken it and ran. So, good for
Not
them.
to mention they beat Kansas State on Monday, who went out to Texas this week, took down Arkansas.
Yep.
Arkansas. I believe they beat Michigan or TCU today.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So
wow, that's good for the Heels too. I mean,
yeah, that'll help their RPI.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's early, but
yeah. But I mean, no, we were both we were talking. We were pretty impressed with that Kansas State team. I know we were watching them last night against Arkansas, or was that the night before? But they look pretty good, man. They score runs. They play good. They did kind of play iffy defense at the Bosch, I remember, but they look pretty good. And obviously,
played the hardest schedule easily in the country. I know they're playing on another tournament next weekend too.
Yeah, that's right. We were looking at their schedule the other night. But yeah, I mean, look, like we said, if you missed it earlier, the rankings will come out on Tuesday this week. So be looking out for those. I think we're going to do it in the morning. We usually do it at noon on Mondays, but we're going to do it in the morning on Tuesday because we have midweeks that will be happening that day. That will also be a big focus. But look for the player honor roll tomorrow, honor rewards. We'll have pitcher of the week, player of the week, and a slew of curveball honorable mentions. So we will kind of crunch those numbers tonight between the 3 of us. Figure out who our player of the week is, and then also who our team of the week is, which we will wait for Monday night to finish to announce team of the week. Just a little nugget there, because we did that last week with Coastal. We waited for Coastal to play on Monday and beat Kansas State to make them 4-0, and that was our team of the week last week. So that is the one award that we will post after the games on Monday. But the rest of them will be coming out for the week the players had, the midweek, and then this weekend, obviously. So that is going to kind of do it for tonight's show. We will kind of go around the horn one more time here and kind of have some final thoughts. I know we haven't really had time to look at the midweek slate yet. At least I haven't. I don't know if you guys have, but we've still been kind of looking at the weekend results and crunching these numbers and all that. But what are you guys looking most forward to? Obviously, we have a big series next weekend with South Carolina and Clemson that we will preview on Thursday. And I know we have some fans that will be traveling to that. They're doing the neutral thing too, right? Is it in Greenville?
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Greenville, South Carolina. Really nice park. I've played there a couple of times against both of those teams. But we will. What are you guys most looking forward to next week, Reed?
Yeah, certainly. Like you said, the South Carolina Clemson game. Obviously, I want to see if the Pirates get back on track. They're playing a tough schedule. Clark LeClaire Classic next weekend. I believe Virginia Tech, Indiana State, and Kent State will be in town. So that'll be a good set of games for the Pirates. They'll test them. Hopefully Riley Johnson's back. So fingers crossed for that for Pirate fans.
And Reed, you'll be boots on ground for that, correct?
I will be present there this upcoming weekend, yes.
So if you've got any Pirate fans in here, be on the lookout for Mr. Reed Tobin, probably in the jungle, I would imagine. I mean, hey, you never know. You might be you might have graduated from the jungle. You never know. Yeah, he shakes his head there. Colby, what are you looking for next year? Are you looking for a state bounce back? Who do they got next week?
Yeah, we have Canisius at home on the weekend. We play Richmond on Tuesday, I believe. Richmond's I think a solid program. I got to look more into what they've been doing this year. Yeah, they got to show me something. Need to see some improvement soon. But the main thing is definitely the Clemson South Carolina series. I'm going to be watching all those games.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch that one. Really excited to dig into this midweek slate tonight because I need to see who's playing. Obviously, I mentioned the Coastal UNCW.
Duke Campbell.
Duke Campbell.
Got that on
Where
Tuesday. I believe that's at Campbell.
Buies Creek. That's a big test for Duke. If all right, how about this? If Duke wins that game, they're back. But then again, like we just discredited Campbell like most of today's episodes. So.
Yeah.
But hey, look, tough to go there on a midweek. Probably going to be it's going to be nice this week, isn't it?
Finally, some warm weather. So.
Yeah. That's probably what I'm most looking forward to this week. But the Heels play VCU on Tuesday, so they have to play Monday. They have to play
Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday against A&T, and then turn around on the weekend and play Stony Brook.
Busy week.
Home. Yeah. So I will probably be going to the VCU game Tuesday, I believe, and then probably some this weekend against Stony Brook. But that is what the Heels' schedule is looking like. And yeah, I mean, look out for our rankings coming out on Tuesday. Tell us we got it wrong. Tell us we got it right. We love the comments. We love the controversy. And we'll come back Thursday night and talk about it all as it plays out, and then how the midweeks went as well. But so that is all the announcements that I had there. A couple more notes. If you haven't already, join our Discord. We have that thing rolling. We started it on Friday, and we had a great first weekend with it. We're looking to keep growing our members. I think we're up to like 30 members now or so. We have multiple different channels that you guys can drop into. But if you don't know how, there's directions on our X. Our pinned tweet right now is the Discord instructions, which will be up there until our rankings get posted, which will take place of that. But go to the link in our bios, click on Discord, and it'll kind of walk you through the questions and what to put for those questions, and then you'll get placed into that thing. So definitely do that. The other thing is we are now on Spotify. So if you're listening on Spotify right now, thank you very much for listening. If you're not, if you enjoy the visual the visual aspect of it on YouTube, thank you for watching on YouTube as well. We have both of those set up now, so please check us out on those two platforms. And follow us, like, subscribe, comment. We love interaction with you guys, so please do all the above. But another great weekend of baseball, and thank you for joining us on this Sunday night. And we will see you guys on Thursday night for our next episode. But nonetheless, boys, thank you for joining me tonight. And have a good night, everyone. We will see you on Thursday.